Hey guys, what's going on? This is Andrew here today, and we're going to basically be doing something I haven't done in a while, and that's actually somewhat of a tech review, but not really at the same time. Basically, what we're going to be covering is my time spent with my iPad mini 6 as a new iPad user. So, as I said before, this isn't a direct review of the iPad, but this actually is more of an outlook on tablets in general, hence why I didn't label this video as a review, and you're seeing gameplay in the background rather than me actually taking a look at the tablet itself. I'm also not saying that my needs for the device are the same as everyone else's, as this is simply just me talking about my experience and my uses for this tablet. So basically, I've never actually owned an iPad before. The last tablet that I had was before I even had a smartphone in the 6th grade, and that was the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2, which I used to replace my cracked iPod 4th generation when I unfortunately dropped it off of a karate stand that I was using when I used to record Guitar Hero videos with the iPod. Once I got my iPhone later that year, I didn't feel like I needed to use the tablet anymore since my iPhone did what the tablet did and more since it was a decent bit more powerful. The tablet was an Android tablet, as I mentioned before. It also wasn't so powerful, so the iPhone 4S honestly just replaced that completely. So for years, I never actually had a major want for a tablet after that, but recently I've seen that there still are tons of people that use these things for content creation and art, and I have a few friends that do music production and stuff. Since when I went to community college, I was placed in a lot of guitar classes with kids who were music majors, and I saw a lot of my friends connect their guitars directly into either their phones or their tablets and use it for GarageBand, and I always thought that was really cool because just having something portable like that, being able to use it as kind of like an amp was kind of cool to me. But about a month later into doing that, I'm kind of skipping forward a little bit, but I only did that for a little while when I had the tablet. It was really cool in the beginning, but then in the end, I'm like, you know what? I have an amp. I don't really need to use something like this. But regardless, before that feature had me interested, so that's why I jumped on it right away. So I've actually now had my iPad mini for a few months now, and I honestly have to say that I honestly haven't really done anything on here that I couldn't on my SE, my iPhone SE, I should say, the 2020 version, or my Razer Phone 2. Don't get me wrong, this thing is much more capable than my other devices in terms of performance, at least the mobile devices, but I really don't do any heavy tasks on mobile other than some video notes, social media, and light gaming occasionally. But here's the thing, there are so many things that I can see myself doing on this tablet, but I feel like I can do all of those things on everything else I own. So for example, for gaming, I already own PCs and consoles that are much more capable devices than the iPad. That includes for new games, old games, and especially emulation. Yes, emulation is a pain in the ass to set up on Apple devices, and it's not guaranteed that you're going to be using those forever if you plan on updating your iOS device, and that especially is for people that don't feel like jailbreaking their devices like me. Yes, this is obviously much more portable than a gaming laptop or a console, but the same can be said about a smartphone, for example, my Razer phone or my iPhone, which could be also used for entertainment and basic content creation like writing video scripts and some basic editing, especially when I'm somewhere else on the go. So for schoolwork, you can make a point by saying that the small form factor is perfect for basic work like notes, video conferences, simple homework, and music production, but I also feel like I'm more comfortable on something like a laptop. As a programmer, yes, there are a lot of software alternatives to use compared to the ones I use on PC, but for some reason it just feels unnatural to me to be doing it on a tablet rather than a computer. But honestly, that can just be how I operate since I tend to prefer sitting in front of a larger screen and writing code that way. I mean, in my PC setup, I have 4 monitors. With the iPad, that's really not an option, and even to an extent, sometimes I feel held back when doing it on a laptop, so my main kind of way I operate is in front of a bunch of monitors, and that may just be how I am. That's no fault on the tablet, that's just something that I prefer. So with that out of the way, how do I actually use the tablet? Well, as I stated before, I basically use it the same way as I use it on my other devices. I take notes, I write video scripts, I do light gaming, and I'll use it for social media and watching videos from time to time when I don't feel like using the iPhone or I don't feel like watching it on my TCL TV, which is 55 inches and 4K. I honestly really like the size of this iPad as it isn't too big or small, and as of now, I have this really cool magnetic keyboard that comes with a light-up keyboard, and a keyboard case, I should say, that comes with a light-up keyboard. And it's surprisingly comfortable to take notes on in bed compared to my laptop, which is why this is actually my primary device for writing scripts, other than when I'm sitting at my desk. So I would say this is my primary portable device when it comes to writing those scripts. So usually I'm sitting at my desk and writing it on my PC, but when I'm not sitting at my desk and I just want to sit in bed and simply just be comfortable and write notes, I use my iPad with that keyboard case I mentioned before. So I have to say it is a really cool device, and it is really nice to have. And my only complaints about the thing are that I wish it had a 120Hz screen and a slightly better camera, but then again, I could have gone for a better iPad than the one I got. I just chose to go for the cheaper alternative and something that was a bit smaller, so I already have other devices I can use the camera for, and my Razer Phone 2 has a 120Hz screen, so it's not really that big of a deal. So getting on to like the last topic, I think what makes me actually use this device as much as I do is the idea of it being my secondary device. Nowadays, I try not to make my primary phone do every task, as I've noticed that whenever I've done that, it for some reason noticeably shortens the lifespan of the device. I actually found this out when I got my Razer Phone 2 for Christmas one year, and it wasn't compatible with my service provider. So I basically used my old phone, my Moto X4, as my primary device for like social media and all that stuff, while I was using the Razer Phone for like productivity stuff and gaming. Nowadays, I'm doing the exact same thing. I use my iPhone SE 2020 as my phone for casual use, and my Razer Phone for like gaming and some other tasks on it. And both devices have exceeded the lifespan of any actual mobile phone that I've used previously. For example, like my oldest, I think the longest I've had an iPhone before this was a year and a half, and that was for my 5S, which is probably one of the best iPhones that was ever made. And yeah, it still only lasted me a year and a half. And I think the longest phone I ever had was the Droid Turbo, which lasted me 2 years, which still is not a very long time. So tangent aside, do I absolutely feel like I need a tablet? Honestly, probably not. As much as I think that the iPad is an awesome device, I feel like the middle ground between a smartphone and a PC makes it to where I feel held back depending on what I'm doing, when considering that either my iPhone or my PC tends to do something better than the middle ground tablet. So for example, when I'm video editing, yeah, it's could be cool to do on the iPad, but I feel like when I'm on PC using Windows software, it works a lot better. Or when I'm using my tablet as something for portability, I feel like the iPhone does it better because it still is, it's a phone rather than a tablet that's obviously not the size of a laptop, but still not small enough to where I can just fit it in my pocket. So yeah, it is a really cool device, but being that middle ground, honestly, sometimes I feel held back. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It is cool to use as a secondary device, and it is very convenient having multiple devices. As a tech reviewer, it is always fun to see what all of my devices are capable of, but in the end, honestly, if I had to like choose 2 devices to keep and I had to throw everything else away, this wouldn't be one of my choices. I'd honestly probably keep my PCs, and then I would just simply have a just like an iPhone or something, or an Android, probably an Android phone. I would never use an Apple device as my primary product. That's just me, but everybody else has their own preference. But like I said, this would not be my first choice. It probably would be my last choice. So anyway, guys, that's my take on tablets for now. Maybe sometime in the future I'll find a different use for a tablet that makes it more convenient than using a different device. I said device. But for now, I really am just using this as an alternative to my phones and PCs from time to time. And as negative as that sounds, I really have to say that I love this iPad. I think it's the perfect size, and honestly, I would rather have this over a full-size iPad, as it's not crazy big, and honestly, I don't really need something that big. If I want something that big, I'll use my laptop or my PC. Something this small honestly makes it pretty convenient to use, especially if I want to bring it with me places instead of hauling a laptop with me. So with all that being said, I have absolutely no regrets buying the tablet. Do I think I'm going to continue to buy tablets from here on out? That really depends on what I said before, if I find a reason to find the tablet. But this will probably be what I use for a really long time, unless for some reason when I go into game development, a tablet is something that I'm going to end up using. So we'll see. The future will only tell what I do next. But for now, I honestly don't see myself buying another tablet for a little while, as I see myself using my computers and my phones more often than this thing. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. It was kind of cool to go back and make a video like this because I haven't done it in a little while. Less motivation, work, and just focus on a lot of other topics. But honestly, this was a lot of fun, and I see myself making more videos of this from time to time. So thank you guys for watching this video once again. I will see you all in the next one.